5-minute salute. I'm your host, Chris Budihas, and joining me here in the studio is Steve Pappas with UF Haley Brain Wellness Program.
Nice to
How
see
you
you, Chris.
doing?
I'm doing
Good
well,
to
Chris.
see you.
Awesome.
That was a mouthful.
I know, it is.
I'm like, man.
And actually, it's a little longer than that. It's the UF Health Jacksonville Leon Haley Brain Wellness Program.
That's amazing.
Named after the Dean and CEO that brought the program to Jacksonville.
I'm excited to get into that.
Yes, sir.
Before we do that, let's talk about you. Where are you originally from, and what did you do in the military?
All right. So I'm originally from Canton, Ohio, Football Hall of Fame town.
Okay.
And 10 days after turning 18.
You're a Buckeyes fan, aren't you?
Oh, huge Buckeye.
Oh, okay,
huge
of
Buckeye
course.
fan. There were a couple years there where Buckeyes in Florida were going after it.
Yeah.
It was a win-win is what I called that. But I was one of those kids in the 90s that saw that Charlie Sheen movie, Navy SEALs. And got my orders and went into boot camp. Unfortunately, hurt myself about a year in, and but decided to serve my time honorably as a personnelman in Washington, D.C. And then it was an amazing transition down to Northeast Florida.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for your service. Obviously,
my honor. Thank you, Chris.
If you didn't serve, we couldn't be here today. So
yes, sir.
Freedom is not free, as they say.
No, it's
so
not. No, it's not.
It's interesting. You and I were talking on camera. You left the military as a personnelist, yeoman specifically, and you got into this healthcare space. What's that journey been like?
That journey has been amazing, Chris. While I was transitioning from active duty out of the service, I had a mentor of mine give me some great advice. He said, every time you write a paper in college, pick an industry, and by the time you graduate, you'll be very marketable in that industry. And I ended up picking healthcare.
That's awesome. It's such a wide and deep field. And obviously, we don't have time here today, but to see the evolution of medical over the last number of decades, you've been into it. But the fact that med tech's taken off and the things we're doing here, which probably leads into what you're doing with the center here.
Yes, sir.
So talk to us about what you guys do and how you do it.
So what we do, and my story is unique, Chris, in that ironically I was a patient there just over 3 years ago.
Okay.
Our program is for veterans and first responders, and it doesn't matter your discharge status, that have had a traumatic brain injury. Okay. And unfortunately, about 4 years ago, I had a very significant car accident where I actually was ejected from the vehicle, run over, and life flighted. Oh, wow. And about 30 days after that accident.
Looking at you, you can't tell that.
I know, you can't tell.
Yeah, you're lucky.
I just eat right and work out and make sure I get my sleep. But about 30 days after that accident, my middle daughter, who was going to UNF at the time, came up to me and she said, "Dad, there's something wrong. You're usually happy, you're forgetful, you're repeating yourself all the time. You need to get some help." And I'm very close with my daughters. And so I heard it and went to my doc, and luckily my doc knew about UF Health starting this brain wellness program for veterans. That's
amazing.
Truly, truly.
So for veterans and first responders, is it one location in the nation, or is there multiple locations? And who does this service? Is it anybody? Do you have to be in Florida to come?
No. So we're part of the Avalon Action Alliance, and that was founded by the founders of Home Depot, Bernie Marcus, Arthur Blank, and they were on a mission to reduce or end veteran suicide. And there's really 3 pillars. First pillar is substance abuse. So they have Warrior's Heart, a clinic in Texas and a clinic in Virginia. Then there's Warrior Path, which is about post-traumatic growth. It's a peer-led program. And then we're the clinical side. We're for traumatic brain injuries, which I know sounds complex, but it's a brain injury, a concussion. Have you ever lost consciousness? And the DoD estimates about 20% of all veterans have a traumatic brain injury.
Yeah, absolutely. Truly. So what is a treatment program? Is it depend on the patient, or is there a typical, you start here and this is the pipeline to exiting? What does that look like?
Great question. So our programming was based off of the NICO programming, which is where active duty go with traumatic brain injuries. And Dr. Jim Kelly designed that programming at NICO, and then Avalon asked him to come do the same for our traumatic brain injuries. And how the program works is there's a in-depth intake process, and we have an intake coordinator that will help gather all those medical records you and I were talking about. And there's a clinical screening, a clinical decision team, and they determine if the candidate's good for a 3-day evaluation. So they come in for 3 days, and it's really the core of the program.
Yeah.
It's neurology, neuro-PT, speech language pathology, and behavioral health. And it also has case management in there. And then based on those 3 days and the outcome, they're recommended for the 3-week intensive outpatient program.
Okay.
And it is intense, Chris.
What's the cost?
So we actually remove all financial barriers
Really?
for the veterans and first responders.
Yeah.
We provide transportation, we provide accommodations as long as they're 30 miles outside of downtown Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And then we cover the deductibles and copays if they are involved.
That's amazing.
Yes, sir.
I can imagine. I mean, the quality of life and the life. I mean, you're literally changing lives, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
What are some of those stories? I mean, either your personal story or somebody else's story.
I will say, my personal story
Yeah.
is, I mean, it was bad. I didn't realize how bad of a condition I was in until I actually started going through the 3-week intensive outpatient program. But I'll say I was delivered hope after the 3-day evaluation. This team of clinicians truly cared about me, and I could tell. And all of the programming during the 3-day, and then during the 3-week intensive outpatient program, it is that core neurology, neuro-PT, speech language pathology, and behavioral health. But then we wrap around integrative therapies, which is equine therapy, canine, music therapy, mindfulness, somatic movement. And I'll tell you, the art therapy is the ninja of the program, Chris.
Oh, really?
It really is. And I didn't see
It's
it
funny,
coming.
it's therapeutic because you remember when you're a child
Certainly.
doing that stuff and you're like, oh, wow.
Certainly.
Look at this. Yeah.
And we do create the warrior mask. I have mine in my office at UF.
Yeah.
And when I have you over for a tour, I'll show it to you.
I'd love to see it.
But our art therapist would flip over colors and say, now tell me, draw what comes to mind. So like for instance, she flipped over blue. And I started drawing the ocean because that's my happy place. And between art therapy and then the behavioral health sessions and speech language pathology, I came out a different person. I mean, the program changed my life, and I will say it saved my life.
Yeah. Not only do you help run the place, you got your testimony to
Yes, sir.
it. I
Yes,
love
sir.
it, man.
Yeah.
It's funny. I've got some friends here locally. Have been through the program. They said the same thing. Where they're at now, they've seen growth, and where they are scared to think of where they would have went if they didn't have this. I won't call it intervention. This opportunity to get well.
Yeah.
It's not. It's just reality, right? I not to get too deep into it here, but I've survived 8 IED strikes. I mean, at some point it takes a toll on you, and then it's no fault of your own. It's just the reality of what you live at. So it doesn't mean you have to live like that forever, because there's capabilities out there.
You know, Chris, it's estimated that there's over 100,000 veterans in Duval County.
Yeah.
And we're on a mission. We're working with the city,
Yes, sir.
Harrison Conyers and his team.
I love
Amazing man.
Harrison.
and Tiffany, they're all amazing down at the mayor's office. And we've really created some strong partnerships in the community as well for referrals.
Yeah.
So to date, Chris, we've had 156 patients, veterans, first responders graduate the program.
Yeah.
And we've had about 358 evaluations, 3-day evaluations completed.
That's awesome. Congratulations on
Thank
that.
you. Thank
Well,
you.
today's segment is actually sponsored by the Military Affairs and Veterans Department of the City of Jacksonville. Harrison Conyers, the team doing great stuff.
You're
for our
doing great.
veterans. So
Yes.
What I want to do is, Steve, I want to invite you back.
Yes, sir.
Have a further conversation,
Okay.
and then we'll continue to kind of beat the drum, because I know there's a lot of people in need that need to come to your center to be taken care of, and increase their quality of life for not just them, but everybody else that's in their life, in their community.
Certainly.
So again, thank you for your service, and
Thank
thank you for
you.
doing your
Thank you,
post-military
Chris.
journey.
Yes.
Hey
Thank you.
folks, I'd heavily encourage you to take a look at Steven and myself on LinkedIn. Connect with us. Love to continue the conversation. Take a look at UF Health, the Haley Brain Wellness Program. We're going to take all that information, put it in our show notes, and encourage you to go to the website. And if you need, you got questions, or you need to go, take a look at the program. If you have somebody in your life or somebody in your community that probably needs to be directed towards the website, please do that. Yeah, really think about it. There's no reason to suffer when you have people out there that want to help you, help yourself to be successful and change the trajectory of your life at no fault of your own. So we'll see our next segment. Live with gratitude.
When they leave us for battle, we await their return. When their embrace is gone, we imagine them with us. Some don't come back. We grieve. Some come back hurting. We help. Heroes survive. We honor them. Heroes fall. We remember them. 150,000 veterans live in Jacksonville. We serve them. We're the Military Affairs and Veterans Department, City of Jacksonville. Because of them, our light never dims.